Thousands of years ago, indigenous communities across North America were feeding entire families, sometimes entire villages, from small plots of land. No synthetic fertilizers, no irrigation systems, no trips to the grocery store. Just a piece of ground, a few seeds, and a system that worked. And then, somewhere along the way, most of us forgot it existed. But here's the thing. The system never stopped working. It's still producing food today, in backyards that most people walk right past without realizing what they're looking at. And once you understand the logic behind it, you'll start seeing your own backyard completely differently. This system did something most modern gardens still struggle to do. It produced more food, with less work, and improved the soil at the same time. And the part almost nobody gets right today. I is not what you plant, it's how you set it up. That's what we're going to cover. This is the Three Sisters. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why some historians believe this ancient combination produced more food per acre than most early European farming systems, and why it still matters for your backyard today. The Three Sisters is a companion planting system developed and refined by indigenous peoples across North America, including the Haudenosaunee, the Cherokee, and the Iroquois, over more than 1,000 years. Some records suggest it was practiced long before European contact. It's not a myth or a legend. It's a documented agricultural method that fed real communities through real seasons, including the hard ones. The system uses 3 crops grown together: corn, beans, and squash. That's it. 3 plants. But the way they interact took Western agriculture a very long time to understand, and most backyard gardeners still don't fully appreciate it. Here's the basic idea. Corn grows tall and straight, creating a natural vertical structure. Beans climb that structure so they don't need any extra support. But while the beans are climbing, they're doing something underground. Beans are nitrogen-fixing plants. Their root systems pull nitrogen from the air and deposit it into the soil. Nitrogen is what makes plants grow fast and produce abundantly. So the beans are feeding the corn and the squash at the same time they're feeding themselves. Then there's the squash. It spreads low across the ground, creating a wide, dense canopy of big leaves. That canopy shades the soil, which does 2 things. It keeps moisture locked in so you water less, and it blocks sunlight from reaching weed seeds. Cut down on weeding, cut down on watering, just by placing 1 plant in the right spot. 3 plants. Each one solving a problem for the other 2. I've grown a lot of different things over the years, and I still think this is the most elegant system I've come across. This is where most people stop and still don't get results, because the real power of this system is not just in the combination, it's in the structure behind it. Here's what surprised researchers when they started studying this more carefully. Modern scientists found that planting these 3 crops together doesn't just maintain soil health. In many cases, it improves it over time. Traditional monoculture farming, where you grow the same crop in the same soil year after year, it depletes nutrients and breaks down soil structure. The Three Sisters works in the opposite direction. The diversity of root systems, the nitrogen being added continuously, and the organic matter from the squash leaves all contribute to soil that gets more productive over time, not less. Most modern farming requires more inputs every year just to maintain the same output. This system was designed to need less and give more. For anyone trying to grow their own food and build real food security at home, that's the whole point. I remember the first time I really looked at this from a food security standpoint. It changes the way you think about depending on the grocery store. Because the Three Sisters isn't just a clever planting trick, it's a complete self-sustaining food logic. Corn gives you calories and carbohydrates. Beans give you protein. Squash gives you vitamins, minerals, and healthy fats from the seeds. Together, these 3 crops cover most of what a family needs to eat. Indigenous peoples weren't eating this combination by accident. They understood on a practical level that these 3 plants together could sustain life. Now, most people miss something important when they first hear about this. The Three Sisters isn't just about what you plant, it's about how you plant it. A lot of people try it once, space things wrong, and walk away thinking the system doesn't work. It does, they just set it up wrong. And this is where most people fail the first time they try it. Traditionally, corn is planted first in small mounds of soil about a foot high. After the corn reaches knee height, beans go in around it, 4 to 6 seeds per mound. Then, a week or two later, squash seeds go around the outer edge of the mound, where they have room to spread outward. The mound itself is intentional. It improves drainage, warms the soil faster in spring, and concentrates nutrients right where the roots need them. Most people skip this part because it seems like extra work. It's not, it's the part that makes the whole thing click. For most backyards, 3 or 4 mounds is a solid starting point. Each mound needs roughly 3 to 4 feet of diameter to work properly. If you're working with a raised bed, you can adapt the same principles. Just give the squash room to trail out over the edge and it'll behave the way it's supposed to. If you're working with a small space, a patio, a balcony, or just a corner of a yard that gets enough sun, you can still work with the same companion planting logic. A large container or grow bag can support a dwarf corn variety, a climbing pole bean, and a compact summer squash like patio star or bush baby. It won't be the full traditional system, but I've seen people pull real harvests out of a 10-gallon grow bag. The logic scales down well. One thing that surprises people the first time they grow this way is how little you have to do once the system is established. No fertilizer applications. Minimal weeding because the squash handles most of it. The plants support each other structurally. You plant it, keep it watered through the early weeks, and then you mostly just watch it work. That's what a real backyard food system looks like. Not constant work, not complicated inputs, just plants doing what they were always meant to do, together. This is easy to miss when you're thinking about gardening as a hobby. A system like the Three Sisters isn't just about saving money on groceries, although it does that. It's about having a layer of food security that doesn't depend on a supply chain working perfectly. It's about knowing that if things get tight, if prices go up, if shelves run low, if life just gets harder for a while, your backyard is already working for you. Once that clicks, most people realize the same thing. They could have started sooner. I felt that myself. And the honest answer is that the hardest part isn't the planting, it's knowing where to start. When I first started putting a system like this together, I kept running into the same problem. There's a lot of information out there, but not much of it tells you how to actually connect the pieces in a small backyard. That's the gap. There's a guide called the Backyard Miracle Farm System that addresses exactly that, how to set up a productive small backyard food system step by step from layout to harvest. If what we covered today resonated with you, it's worth a look. I left the link in the pinned comment. Before we close out, I'm curious about your setup. Are you working with a full backyard, raised beds, or just a small patio? Have you ever tried companion planting before? Drop it in the comments. It helps to see what people are working with out there. The Three Sisters is more than an ancient technique. It's a reminder that food security doesn't require complicated technology or expensive inputs. It requires understanding how living systems work, and then setting them up to work for you. Indigenous communities fed generations of people with this method because it was reliable, resilient, and practical. It worked through droughts, through hard winters, through seasons when there was no store to fall back on. And it'll work in your backyard too. That's exactly what a survival garden and a self-sufficient backyard are built on. Not luck, not perfect conditions, but systems that keep producing even when things get difficult. The knowledge was almost lost, but it wasn't. Someone kept it, someone passed it on, and now you have it. If this gave you something to think about, hit the like button. It helps this channel reach more people trying to grow their own food and build a real independence at home. Subscribe if you want more content like this. There's a lot more coming, and it's all built around the same idea, practical systems that actually work. Start before you need to. That's always the right time.